Imagine you're first in line to fight the gorilla, and this is the gorilla. Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel and another review. And today we are going to be looking at the final combination of Giant Legion by Mecha Invasion, aka not Devastator. And I absolutely love this guy, I can't wait to show you, and we're gonna start off by looking at how the whole team looks together in vehicle mode. But real quick, just a quick disclaimer, well not really a disclaimer, but in regards to the really slow uploads, I am managing 2 channels, and I have several series ongoing on the other channel, so I had to finish some of that up before I was able to find the time to get this put together. So, uploads are going to be slow for a while until I'm able to get this as more of a full-time gig. Anyway, guys, let's get into this review by looking at all these guys in their vehicle modes. Alright everyone, here we have the entire Mecha Invasion, aka not Devastator team, together in their vehicle mode, so you can see how they look and compare to each other. Now I gotta say, this is definitely probably the best combiner team I've ever owned, and the best Devastator team I've seen so far, and it's nice to see a third party come along and make a combiner that is not overly complicated like many of them are. I was really interested in the Dreamstar Toys one, but it just looked like a nightmare to transform like most of their combiners are. And I'm not a fan of the whole skeleton thing with the one coming out. Well, not the Devastator, but yeah, the other combiners. The new Devastator does look good and very G1 accurate, but I'm not a fan of the price point for the size. But this guy is awesome. So first, before we get into comparing their robot modes, I just want to show those of you who may not have checked out my individual reviews for these guys, which will be in the description below. These guys are just about leader size in vehicle mode, at least to a modern leader, but these are MP scaled figures. So let's take a quick look at each of them up close in their vehicle modes, and then we will get down to the robot modes. So here we have our good old bonecrusher, looking nice with all his detailed panel lining. Very nice bulldozer with a little hint of Cybertronian flair. Then we have Mixmaster here, standard dump truck rather than the more Cybertronian one seen in G1. With the flat front, and the leg transformation on this guy, chef's kiss. Then we got our scrapper here, very nice. I like the fully articulated arms here. Pardon, it's hard for me to do this on camera. Really nice, and it has the real-life accurate front end articulation. Now I know that's because of the waist joint, but the real life ones, the front end is able to move independently of the back. So that's a nice little touch. Then we got Bonecrusher's twin here with our scavenger. My only complaint is that these guys don't have wheels. All the other ones have actual rubber tires, which I did forget to mention in my main video. Sorry, the camera keeps going out of focus every time I put my hand here. Trying to have expressive hands and it's messing me up. But we got a really nice scavenger here. It would be cool if he had maybe some like bucket or something back here for holding stuff, because this does do a 180. Yeah, full articulation on the arm here. And that is our scavenger. He's actually my favorite to transform. Very simple. And then we have our good old boy Hook here with his gorgeous Earth vehicle mode with a little bit of Cybertronian flair. I do like how the chest piece becomes the tail lights. It's really nice. I do wish that the stability arms were articulated like the Jin Bao one, which is, of course, the oversized version of Generations Toys, which I believe Mecha Invasion is Generations Toys. And his arm is fully articulated, extendable. Hook can move in 2 places. And he gets the full rotation around, although he does get a little snag on the diamond plate here. But I do like how this configuration looks on the job site. And lastly here, we have my favorite vehicle mode with Long Haul. He is a big chunkin' brick, and I love it. I love the big oversized dump trucks, and I do like how he actually has kind of a usable space back here, which is pretty nice. And I love the detailing on this guy. I can't wait to get the Generation 2 yellow version of this combiner team. Anyway guys, so that's all for the vehicle modes. If you want to see a little more detail regarding their scale compared to some other things, check out the individual videos, as I mentioned, that will be down below. Now let's quickly transform these guys into their robot mode, and I'll see you there. Alright guys, well here we have our entire team in their robot modes. And I gotta say, especially with their glowing eyes, let me dim the light so you can see that a little better. Where's my button? There it is. Gotta say, these guys are looking real good. And I absolutely love them. They're a great team. And not to mention, as I said in one of my other videos, these guys are about half the price at approximately leader or masterpiece scale than the mainline. So it is a steal to get all these guys together. And these guys are awesome. Now, before we get into the official combination, I want to quickly take a look at each of these guys up close, for those of you who didn't watch the individual videos. Here we got our boy Bonecrusher, looking nice and clean. Boy, do I need a turntable. My preferred leader for the team, Long Haul. Absolutely awesome looking figure, and I actually like the way the backpack cleans up. And we got our scavenger here. Hopefully my voice is coming out clearly on the mic. And he is looking great. And I do also thoroughly enjoy the posability on these guys. Thoroughly enjoy it. Alright, and then we got Hook over here, the hardest one for me to get balanced in a cool shot because of how heavy that arm is. He's my favorite looking robot mode out of all of them. Then we got your Scrapper. Looking like quite the soldier here. He's one of the few that has a dedicated ab crunch. And lastly, we have Mixmaster. And I love the Starscream-esque, or sorry, the more Tarn-esque head sculpt with the almost Decepticon symbol sculpt there. Looking real nice. I still absolutely love this leg transformation, and I hope future Optimuses could use something similar to that. But alright guys, real quick, let me do a single size comparison with a modern leader, just to show the scale of these guys. And they are all slightly larger than a leader, so right around MP scale. Now, we've seen the whole team together, and man, I love this set. I cannot keep gushing Words. I cannot stop gushing about it. But now it's time to get them into the combined Gestalt of Devastator. But there are a few things I need to prep beforehand, and I'll show you what you need to do to get this thing set up. So let me transform all of these guys into their individual components, and I'll be right back. Alright guys, well now that we have these guys in their individual combined modes, we'll take a quick look at each of them, and then get towards the combination. So first let's take a look at Hook, and he forms this big solid brick of a shoulder and upper chest. Very securely locked in, although we will have to undo some of this for the combination. Then you have our bros here forming the feet. Very well done. And these form probably the most sturdy connection I've seen on a combiner. Then we have our two arm bros, and yes, these guys are swapped from the original version. These guys would normally be the legs, and the two guys with the feet would normally be the arms. But I actually like this setup a little bit better because the symmetrical base gives them a more stable stand in robot mode. Or combined mode, rather. And then we have Long Haul, who forms not only the lower torso, but the thighs as well. And that's going to be really nice in combined mode because it means there won't be a backpack that doesn't need to be there. And he's actually my favorite just as a combined mode because he's just this really complete, cool-looking chunk of a torso. Alright, and we have our individual components set up. And now it's time to get them into their combined mode. But first, we're going to start small by looking at their accessories or weapons that also have their own combination. So what you're going to do is not drop it like I just did. Alright guys, my OBS crashed, so I gotta re-record this section. But to get to the combined mode for all of the accessories here, you're going to take Mixmaster's Blaster and Scrappers in its folded up configuration, and you're going to take this slot here, and it's going to go onto this tab up top, like so. And that's going to connect at 3 different points, one on each of these and that aforementioned peg. Then you're going to take the 2 guns from Scavenger and Bonecrusher, and they're just going to tab nicely together, like so, and go ahead and splay them open. Then you'll take the previously combined piece you did, and there's these 2 tabs here. They are going to go into these 2 slots here. Which way doesn't matter, just depends on which gun you want to face which way. And boom, there you have that. Then you'll take Long Haul's gun, push its barrels into the 2 ports right here. And then lastly, you'll take Hook's gun with the handle facing up as iron sights, and you can tab it into either end, and then you're just going to close this all on itself to sandwich everything in, like so, and boom, there is your blaster for combined Devi, and it is real nice. Real nice. The box set will come with a chrome version, although I actually really prefer the detail on the the gunmetal, the silver, and the black. So I might swap them whenever I get that set, because I'm really looking forward to that. But anywho, let's get on to the full combiner. Alright guys, this is actually a different recording day. I had to do some other stuff, but now we're gonna get these guys into the combined Gestalt here. So first, we're gonna start off with the feet. So let's get these things out of the way real quick. And what you're going to want to make sure you do on both of the feet here is make sure you untab all this stuff from its final positions so you have room to insert the post for the leg. You're just going to do the exact same thing on both sides. Now let's get this leg on here. So what you're going to do is you're going to take your Long Haul lower torso here. Let me adjust. Makes it a little easier on myself. you're going to straighten out the leg so that you can then bring this in here. And hold on. Hard to get this on camera. You're going to put this I-beam kind of shaped port here into the I-beam shaped slot here. Man, this is actually really hard to do on camera. So you're just going to slide that in. There we go. And then once that's in, what you're going to do first... Alright, sorry, I had to adjust my camera setup here a little bit. So what you want to make sure you do is you want this port here to go into this post here. Once you slide this in, slide that in, and then you're gonna make sure you press all that in to lock it in. Sometimes it's helpful to actually use this as leverage, because if you push this whole thing in, get this to where you guys can all see it, and that's gonna pop into place. You're gonna push this silver bit into the slot that is there as well. And then you're gonna push the side of the arm back into its final position, and that's gonna tab it in 3 additional places. So now you're gonna do the same thing on the other side here. You're gonna push that in, peg in the top with a nice firm push, and then take the arm and it's gonna peg into 3 places. Tab here, and then of course that tab I previously mentioned. Boom. And there you have one leg done. Second verse, just like the first. Alright, and there you have both of your legs installed. Also, just a quick note, the legs are interchangeable. They do not have to be on the left or the right. You can swap them however you want. Alright, now we're going to come up to our torso section here. And you're going to want to partially undo hook. So go ahead, flip the arm back. You're going to go ahead and... Oh, sometimes this metal die-cast piece does pop off whenever you open this, but don't worry, it just pegs on. It's meant to come off in case of clearance issues. Alright, so what we're going to do is you're going to undo this part of the backpack section. And then you're going to go ahead, undo this one again, as if you were going back to a different mode. And then you're going to slide this out, because you need this out for clearance purposes when you slide it onto long haul. So just do the same thing on the other side, untab, open up, get the fist out of there, which unfortunately knocks everything loose, but that's fine. And then slide this back out, get it out of the way. Now to attach it to our buddy long haul here, this might be very tricky for me to get onto camera, but these black tabs here that have this little notch in them are going to slide over these notches here, and then the back is going to slide perfectly in between here. So let's go ahead and do that. Make sure you have his skirt thing out of the way here. And we're just gonna plop this down and slide it forward. It's gonna be nearly impossible for me to properly get this on camera, so my apologies. Alright guys, now once you have that slid into place, first what you're gonna do is you're gonna take these pegs here on the arm. Focus camera. Focus. Right there, focus camera. There we go. You're gonna take those and you're going to make sure you peg them in like so. Do the same thing on the other side. Just make sure you guys can see that. Focus camera. There we go. Push those in and that's gonna form a nice tight connection there. Then you can go ahead and put the panels here at the top back into their original positions you had them in before. Sorry guys, I was not going to be able to get that on camera. And once you get those tabs back in, you're gonna put everything back in place. So you're gonna open this up, get that fist back in there, wrapped around that port. Make sure it forms this nice 90-degree angle. Peg this back in, and close that up. And if it fell off, just put this piece back on. Oop. All right, second verse, just like the first on the other side. Peg that in, get the fist on, close that up, and boom, you have the upper half now plugged into place. Now all you're gonna do is flip up the chest piece here, and there's this little, basically like trailer hitch looking piece. Camera, focus. Camera. But yeah, this little trailer hitch looking piece right here is going to slide into the screw hole on the top of what was Hook's crotch. And boom, there you have the upper torso all done. And I gotta say, so far, looking great. Now let's go ahead and attach the arms. So at this point, you should already have the arm posts out. And you're just gonna take our boys here and slide them on. Should go on nice and easy, and that's all. Same thing on the other side. All right, and there is our boy ready for the face reveal. Let's get in there. So then lastly, you're gonna open up that panel that should have come undone by now by transformation, and press in the head, and boom, there you have our big guy. If I can get him close to the camera here. Sorry, my camera setup is not meant for a figure this large. There we go. And there we have our Devi with his gorgeous head sculpt. I wish the camera would focus on it properly. Come on, camera. Work with me. There we go. And just like all of the individual bots, he does have the light up gimmick, if I can find the sweet spot. It can sometimes be a little hard to find that sweet spot. There we go. And that is looking great. So here we have Giant Legion by Mecha Invasion in his full combined mode. And if you're wondering about the gun, it just you just open up his hand here, and this portion of the gun is going to go into the open notch on his hand. Might have to get the thumb out of the way, but and then you just kind of wrap his fingers around it, and there you go. Bro's got a big gun. Alright guys, just a heads up, I am doing this in a different order than you're seeing it, so I don't know how I'm going to get any of this on camera. But now that we've got this guy together, let's take a look at his details and articulation. So first let me take the gun out of his hand here, just to make it easier. Let's get in nice and close here on the upper torso. And he is looking quite nice. I do love the very cybernetic, stylized look of the chest. I love the way they handled the colors on the arms, just putting those hints of purple everywhere. And the back also cleans up incredibly nicely. No backpack, just these just the wheel placement on the back that makes it look kind of like thrusters, to be honest. Just a hint of the purple on the back with full access to the crane arms still, which we will get to in a moment. Gotta say, looking good. Now for the lower body, I really like the detailing down here. Okay, so the chest piece of Long Haul ends up becoming the cod piece, so to speak. I love the way the truck parts, just like in Long Haul's robot mode, end up nicely on the side. He is caked up. He's got some tire booty cheeks. And he got that nice die cast in the feet to help him stay nice and sturdy. Speaking of the feet, he has a very nice, large, solid base to stand by on both sides, with that detailing from the individual robots really carrying over here. He's got kind of like shin guards on both sides. And gotta say, I love the way this guy looks. I like the combination of like G1 and IDW all put together. And it looks quite nice. Now, as for some key little features here before we get to articulation, his headpiece does open up and he can pop out a nice visor and the lights still come through rather nicely. Then, of course, the cannon can flip all the way forward. He's also got a nice little scope here that can pop out. Little pop out scope there. And the cannon can extend just like the crane. Now for articulation, of course the cannon on the back can rotate a little bit left and right. As for the head, it is on a ball joint, so it can do the full 360. A little bit of left-right head tilt, up and down. And he can go back really far if you snap his neck. But you can also have him look down about that far, although you could, I guess, cheese it and undo the head panel. The arms are on a nice, sturdy ratchet that can do a full 360. Well, kind of. Actually, chest gets in the way, so maybe not a full 360, but pretty good. He can go out a good distance, not too far, because the shoulder does get in the way. But he does on this arm, because it's intended to be the gun arm, and because of the nature of Mixmaster's transformation, he does have a double rotation, an upper and a lower rotation on this arm, with just about 90 degrees of bend at the elbow. And he can go back pretty far if you get the chest piece out of the way. And the articulation on the other side is exactly the same, with the exception of the fact that it only has a single rotation joint here. No lower arm rotation. He does have a waist swivel, which can go about 90 before you start having some clearance issues. For the legs, oh, this is gonna be the hardest to get on camera. If you move the skirt out of the way, he can go forward about 90 degrees, just short of 90. He can go back, not as much because the tire will hit the back there. He's a little too caked up, but that's about as far as you would need his leg to go. He can do a, in the name of Jobby, a beautiful spread. And as for the knee, he can go just short of 90, although if you move the tire out of the way, you can cheese it a little further. He does have a slight thigh swivel at the hip joint, and he does have a ankle tilt both directions, as well as a little bit forward and back of an ankle tilt, although I can't really do that on camera. Oh god, my arms are getting so tired. Because he is a chunky guy. Very good size. And I also want to say, if I can show you on camera, this guy is very sturdy. I can pick him up with one hand, and nothing's wobbly, everything's nice and sturdy. Everything is ratcheted, so he's going to stay nice in whatever pose you put him in, as long as you get him balanced, because he is very heavy. I don't have my scale, but he probably weighs maybe 8 pounds? Maybe? Not sure. But anyway... Oh, and I forgot to mention, his fingers are each on a 3-joint articulation. He can do pretty much whatever you want him to do with his hand. He can even do jazz hands if you wanted to, because he has a joint at each knuckle on each finger. So you can ball them up into a perfect fist and have him do whatever. And then he has a double joint on the thumb that is also on a ball joint. So you can get some great posability with this guy. Pardon the rough nature of this review, this guy is very large. Now for some size comparisons, give me just a moment. First, we will once again show how big he is next to a standard leader. So there's that on the upper body, and a modern leader only goes up to about his mid-thigh, so he is quite large. Now let's compare him to something much larger. If I can get this on camera, here he is next to Unicron, and he's just about 3 or 4 inches shorter than Studio Cell Unicron, which is the second largest figure I own. I'm gonna try and get the largest over here, which will be a future review, by the way, and see if I can get him on camera. Alright, and here he is next to the largest figure I own, Diaclone Grand Cross, aka Japanese Fortress Max. And yeah, he's still pretty big. He's just about, I think, like 30 centimeters tall. So he's about just short of 2 feet. Now this guy over here, he's about 2.5 feet tall. So yeah, he's a pretty big guy. And that will be a future review. Now the question is, can I put this back without breaking everything in my room? Alright guys, well that has been my review of the Giant Legion Devastator by Mecha Invasion. And I gotta say, this is definitely my favorite combiner I've ever owned. I love the detailing. All the transformations, when you're not trying to do them on camera, are super simple. The combination is simple, and the articulation is exactly what you would need. Now, as a caveat, I've mentioned in the previous videos, I did panel line this guy to accentuate the detail, but even without that, the detailing is immaculate. He's just the right size for a combiner like this. He's not too big to be unplayable, although I will admit he's very hard to try to articulate on camera, which is the only reason why I didn't do any cool action poses in the posability section, because this guy, not happening on camera. It gets way too hot in this recording room. Anyway, but yeah, I love this guy. Now, in regards to pricing, if you can still hunt them down, they are $88 per box set of 2 figures, and they're all the same price regardless of size or which figures you get. And so in total, they come out to about half the price of the current Studio Series 1. Although if you're going for Generation 1 accuracy, you would still want that. Now, there is a box set, as I've mentioned before, of the Generation 2 color scheme coming out that has all the figures in one, and I believe that one comes out to being a little bit cheaper. So if you want to hunt this down, you can check out places like ShowZ Store, of course eBay and other third-party sellers like TF's Safari and all that. But I got mine on ShowZ Store. They have been doing regular refreshes if you want to hunt this one down. But the box set should be coming out soon. But anyway, guys, thank you for bearing with me through my very first review series on one larger figure like this. It's my first time reviewing, so it'd mean a lot if you like, subscribe, share the video, and all that good stuff, and check out my main gaming channel as well. It needs the love. I will be doing a review of the box set when it comes out, although I won't be showing the transformation and posability because that was covered here. But I will be reviewing that box set, and I'll have more unique third-party figures coming soon, because I have a lot of figures that other people haven't really reviewed all too much, and I would love to share them with you guys, especially my first-party Macross reviews. I'm looking forward to that. But anyway, guys, thank you so much for joining me for this Devi review. It means a lot, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye!